Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Brandon from Helium, and today I'm bringing you a video about iPhone microphone options. Not surprisingly, you've seen that I've laid out a bunch of different microphone choices here. What I'd like to talk about are some of the things, some of the equipment that people may be familiar with, such as the Rode VideoMic Go, and a couple of other things that people already know about. But I'll also like to talk about some hidden gems that I found. And also some options for audio that you may not have considered. Now, just really quickly, this is not a review of the equipment. There are lots of reviews out there, but rather an overview of what your options for external audio are, so you can improve your iPhone audio at different price points. Now, most of the options here are wired. I do have one wireless option, which I am really excited to talk about. And also talk a little bit about some accessories that enable you to use microphones that you may already own. I'm not paid or endorsed by any of these manufacturers, so I'm completely agnostic. I'm just sharing with you what I believe are the best tools for the job, and only showing you what I have personally bought and own for Helium. So just really quickly, this video is roughly split up into 4 main sections. I want to talk about close-up microphones, which includes a really cool wireless option, which I just described. Lightweight camera-mounted microphones as a second section. The big guns in the third section, and other options that people might not be familiar with in the 4th section. So let's start off with number 1. So close-up microphones, and I talk about close-up microphones in rather broad terms. What I'm really referring to specifically are lavaliers and stage headsets, or wireless lavaliers. When I say stage headsets, I'm referring to the ones that you may see on Broadway. So I personally use a cheap lavalier to record this video. I paid less than $20 to it. I'm currently using it, so I'm just going to cut away to a picture of it. And I'm shooting with my iPhone 7 Plus. So I use the included 3.5mm to lightning adapter with this lavalier with no issues. The caveat is that this lavalier has a TRRS connector on its end. I'm putting a link to the video where I discuss TRS versus TRRS connectors in case you're confused. So the second option I'd like to talk about as far as close-up microphones go is this one. This is very, very exciting to me. This is the Samson XPD1 stage wireless USB headset. You can use it on anything that has a headset jack, a USB port. How you use it with your iPhone is simply this. You'll need this USB to Lightning camera adapter from Apple. I would not recommend buying a third-party product simply because Apple's products and from my experience at least, are quite a bit more reliable. What you do is you plug the USB receiver into the USB port of the Lightning to USB camera adapter. Plug this jack, of course, into your iPhone, and then you'll pair it with this transmitter. Now, if you notice, this transmitter has a mini XLR jack, and this is the connector that pairs with it. So this is where it gets really, really exciting. Now remember, I talked about the stage headset. Well, this is it. This allows me to go from an ordinary person to turn your face away from the garish light of day. I don't think you want to hear the rest, but you get the point. This is the headset that you'll see on Broadway. It fits really comfortably. The reason I got this versus the wireless lavalier option, or the lavalier option, was because I wanted to be mic'd really, really close, and I want to turn the gain down on the transmitter to as low as possible to try to reduce noise. This transmitter is powered by 2 AA batteries. It has a gain screw that you can vary based on what kind of gain settings you want, and included is a cute little plastic screwdriver with which you can make the changes to the gain. So that's it. This is a really, really cool device, very easy to pair, surprisingly affordable at just a little less than $100. Yes, a wireless solution for audio for a little less than $100. Performance is excellent for its price. Of course, that assumes that you already own a USB to Lightning camera adapter from Apple. This runs about $40. So if you don't already own one, you'll have to tack on the cost of this little unit here to the overall cost of this solution. But a wireless solution running on 2.4 gigahertz at less than $150 is a reasonable investment, in my opinion. So that's that. Let's see. Oh yes, before I forget, there are also microphones, or this system also comes with a reporter style, those big honking microphones that reporters like to carry around, and also a lavalier version. So if this looks silly to you, or if you don't feel comfortable wearing this and walking around with this, then a lavalier option is also available. I'm going to set this aside. So now I'd like to move on to the next section, which is lightweight camera mounted microphones. The two that I own and like are the Rode VideoMic Go, and this is probably unknown to most of you. This is the Takstar Takstar SGC-698. I want to talk a little bit about this little baby here, but in a bit. But both of these are lightweight camera mounted shotgun microphones. Most of you already are familiar with the Rode, or is it Rode brand name. In order to use, this microphone ships with TRS to TRS connector. So you can use either the Rode SC7 TRS to TRRS cable, or you can simply just plug the one end of the TRS to supply TRS to TRS connector into the microphone, and the other end into an adapter cable. And again, if you click on the link that's included in both the description as well as an annotation here, you can learn more about TRS versus TRRS connectors in a previous video that I did. So there you have it. Similarly, this Takstar SGC-698 was probably made designed to be an on-camera microphone for either mirrorless cameras or digital SLRs. So not surprisingly, it ships with a TRS connector too. Not a problem at all. Just use the same cable. Solution, problem solved. Now the cool things about this are that you have a cutoff filter. So you have settings here. You have a low cutoff filter presumably to aid with reduction in ambient noise and rumble. But you also have two gain settings here. You have a -10 dB gain setting for situations where your audio source is really, really loud. Or conversely, if you have a +20 dB gain setting here. So in situations where the audio source is not ideal, it's really low and soft, you can turn on the 20 dB setting here in order to boost that signal. The one thing I don't like about this is that even when you turn it on, the LED light doesn't come on. This is battery powered and has this unusual CR2032 battery. I found them on eBay for next to nothing. So, although they're a bit unusual, they're relatively inexpensive to procure. But again, this is one that I like for a number of reasons. One, the +20 dB gain setting is a really, really nice thing to have. But also look at how compact it is. It looks much more at home on a rig device like the Helium Core, for instance, where the main body of the shotgun mic doesn't jut out that far. It ships with this, a cheap version of a dead cat filter, but it's solid construction made out of feels like it's machined out of aluminum. Should be fairly robust in the feel. So those are two of them. A little note about shotgun microphones and what the advantages are. In addition to being compact and portable and lightweight, and the fact that they don't require any kind of phantom power, their polar pattern, or in layperson's terms, the areas around the microphone from which they pick up the audio signals. So if you look at it if you look at it at a circle that circumscribes this microphone, the bulk of the pickup pattern, or the bulk of bulk of where the microphone picks up the signal, falls around this area. So it's called a cardioid pattern. I believe, if I remember correctly, the Rode VideoMic Go actually has a super cardioid pattern, which means that it will pick up a pattern that's even tighter. So it derives most of its audio signal from an area somewhere around here. And that's really important because you don't want to pick up ambient noise that's on the left, on the right, and behind your microphone, or where you're pointing your microphone at. Okay, cool. So moving on, I want to talk a little bit about some other options, which are, if you've been in film or video production for a while, it's very, very likely that you have one of these big gun shotgun microphones. This one in particular is the Rode NTG1. Not the best shotgun microphone on the market, certainly, but a very, very solid performer for the price. I mean, there's certainly no Sennheiser MKH416, but it's still a very, very good performer. Paired with a dead cat muff, I mean, it does a really, really good job. Now, how do you use this with an iPhone? Well, the answer is this. IK Multimedia, I believe that's what they're called, makes this device called the iRig Pre, or PRE. Now, really cool and nifty device that you plug. So you plug your XLR cable into this end of the microphone. You plug the corresponding end into the iRig Pre, and then since this is a condenser microphone, you'll need to use phantom power. So there's a battery at the back. It's a 9-volt battery. It has a condenser. It has a phantom power option here. I've taped this off because I was using this the other day and I wanted to just keep it secure. But you can also modify or adjust the gain settings on this. So again, plug the microphone into the XLR cable. The other end of the XLR cable goes here, and then you plug this end into your phone. Now, this is the older version of the product. I don't have the most current version. I believe the most current version actually has a lightning adapter for the iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus. But since I do the bulk of my shooting on the iPhone 6s Plus and the iPhone 6s, I haven't had much of a need to make the switch quite yet. But again, you can also plug this into your Lightning to 3.5mm cable adapter, the one that ships with your iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, and you still get the same results. So that's that. Now, if you are in a studio setting, and again, in a professional production environment setting, especially if you own a video production shop, it's very likely that you have some kind of voiceover booth or voiceover recording capability, or singing, if you're recording some original audio tracks. So you can use something like this. This is an Audio Technica AT2020. It has a large capsule. You might be able to see the capsule. So you get super sensitive response. And of course, being a studio style microphone, this microphone is lovingly cradled in its own shock mount. Now, we should all aspire to be cradled so lovingly. Or I do, at least. I can't speak on everyone's behalf. But, if for those of you who aren't familiar with a shock mount, it just basically helps to suspend the microphone so that you don't get any kind of noise, or you don't get any kind of interference or scratchy sounds from the movement of the mechanical components around it. It's used in studio settings. I mean, these microphones are hypersensitive, so they'll pick up virtually any kind of noise. The same is true also for shotgun microphone. This is a shock mount, not quite as sophisticated and not quite as fancy as this one, but it performs the same function. And that's important when you're in the field, when you're shooting a video, you have an audio operator who might be putting this on a boom pole to extend the useful range of the microphone. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of noise that could come from the handling of the microphone. So that's what a That's what these are for. These shock mounts are for, in case you aren't familiar with them. So yeah, these are the so-called big guns, and that forms section 3. Now, the one last thing I'd like to talk about in section 4 are your other options for audio. Now, let's see. Let's talk a little bit about this. I'm going to bring this into view soon. This is the lowly Apple headset. These are the earbuds that ship with your iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus. Now, in a pinch, these are actually not a bad way to record external audio. You already have the Lightning connector here. You have a built-in microphone on this unit, and again, in a pinch, the audio quality is not perfect. It's not ideal, but you can use it, and it performs pretty well, especially if you have the opportunity to hold it up close to your mouth, so that you're not picking up any kind of too much external noise. So don't forget, this, you already own this, and it shipped for free, or it's free as it can be, I guess, after paying several $100s for your iPhone. Another option is are USB microphones. Now, I don't have a USB microphone like a Yeti or a Blue microphone, but this is a Samsung Go mic. Now, I bought this many years ago. What you can do is you can plug your USB cable into your USB microphone, plug the other end into the Lightning to USB camera adapter, plug this into the Lightning port or Lightning jack on your iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, and voila, there you have it. You have audio, great audio, using equipment that you already have without having to spend a ton of extra money. Again, this costs $40, and so it's not a negligible investment, but it has so many uses. And I will in a separate video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can use this to get Ethernet speeds, Ethernet wired broadband connections, rock solid on your iPhone. You may not have seen it before, but it's possible. This is one of the parts that you need to make that happen. So there you have it. These are the tools, the audio tools that I use. I bought, these I've owned from my time in filmmaking and video production. These I bought when I first started developing the Helium core as test units. Similarly, this was done, to test the to use with the equipment that I already had in live streaming situations where I wanted to get as close as possible to the audio source. This Samsung device, the XPD one, it says here Stage PXD one, but the box, of course, says something different. Let me just pull the box. This is what the box looks like. It's the XPD1 headset. It's the USB digital wireless system. Again, just such a wonderful device to have. It's so nice to be untethered when you're doing audio. And it's, so far at least, its range and its reliability has been pretty good for me so far. I've not run into any issues. But for a little less than $100, man, you can pick this up. So there you have it, a little bit about audio options or iPhone microphone options for better audio. I am linking to all these products in the description section below. I hope that if you found this useful, that you will subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button below, and also making sure that you click on the little bell icon right next to the subscribe button so that you receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. I'm planning to do more of these, instructional, informative, not so much review type stuff. I really am, there's so many reviews out there on individual components and tools and accessories that I'm not interested in trying to duplicate what other people are already doing. But I hope to provide more and more of these types of videos that are informational, that help you make the transition if you are currently considering it from more conventional, either full-size camera or digital SLR or mirrorless camera to iPhoneography or smartphone filmmaking or photography. Again, this is Brandon. Thank you so much for listening to me all this way, and I will be I hope to see you guys soon. Take care.